He came to see me every single day. I usually get over creepy encounters fairly quickly, but this one was quite different from the rest. I go by the rule, be nice to everyone because you never know who could be a secret serial killer. And that has worked out pretty well for me for the majority of the time. Although this time, it was probably what got me into that situation. When I was 18, I worked as a lifeguard by a small pool. Nothing fancy. I was basically just a babysitter to all ages. When adults got bored looking after their kids, they sometimes sought me out, for some reason, to have a free therapy session. Mothers and fathers talking about their hardships. I know I worked as a lifeguard, but I can't save that kind of life. One day, a 50-year-old man with his 2 kids came to the pool. As many other people did, he went up to me and we started talking. It started with some small talk, like how he didn't let his children eat ketchup because it has the properties to remove even rust from metals. But as the hours went by, he started talking badly about one of his kids, how she was overweight, had anger issues, and was worried about boys when no one would ever look at her. I'm not gonna lie, the last statement made me go quiet, and I tried to somewhat reason with him to not speak like that about his daughter. He seemed to listen to what I had to say, so I was happy that I could possibly help his kid in some way. Having a parent like that would have given anyone a hard time. The next day he came back extremely happy, telling me that I was so good with kids because my talk had apparently helped him. He then began the day by trash talking his ex-wife to oblivion, like how she had the most custody over their kids and that the kids only ate fast food at her house. I didn't say much because I felt like it wasn't my place to speak and I didn't want to create unnecessary drama at my workplace. But what set the first red flag in motion was when the conversation suddenly shifted into him wanting a young wife. It was as if he had tried to trash talk his ex to get me to understand he was single and interested in a relationship with me. The days went by and he continued to visit the pool every day. To some extent, I had the feeling that he now came every day just to see me. I was fairly creeped out by this thought, so I tried to ignore it and just do my work. As the days passed, he started asking more and more personal questions like, where do you usually go grocery shopping? And, is there a cafe close to where you live? As I was fairly sure he wasn't trying to figure out where I lived, I kindly deflected all of his questions with something very obscure. During my last work week, I had an afternoon shift. I asked my colleague, who had the morning shift, if anything had happened that day and that I should be aware of. He told me that they had to ban a man from entering the pool area because he had reached behind the counter at the small pool shop, where the workers keep their personal things. Apparently, he had been denied by my coworker to get a look at our work calendar, so he had tried to get a glance at it in a more illegal manner. That last week I saw him twice at the end of my shifts, standing near the pool entrance. The second time I saw him there, I reported him to the pool security guards, and after that I never saw him again. So I hope we never meet again, you creep. This happened when I was about 11. I had a friend over at my dad's house for the first time, and we were having a lot of fun. My dad went into the front yard to take a phone call. At this time, it was about 10:30 at night, and we were hyped up off of Dr. Pepper and Mountain Dew. We were so hyper that we went outside with my dad. We mainly stayed in the front yard until we decided we wanted to go inside. Me and my friend jumped my back fence because we were right next to it. For context, I had a pit bull and a very large German shepherd, who were also in my backyard. Me and my friend went up to the second floor and were playing with makeup. About 30 minutes later, we went back downstairs because I heard my dogs barking and decided to let them in. My friend pointed out that my dad was still out on the front porch. Okay, cool. I went to my back door to open it and I see a man crouching by the back gate, staring at my back door. He was next to the side of the gate that we had previously jumped. I asked my friend to stay there and make sure the man stayed there, and I was going to go check if my dad was still on the front porch. He was. For whatever reason, I did not tell my dad that this man was in our backyard. Instead, me and my friends watched him out there for about 20 minutes. After these 20 minutes, he moved across the street and crouched next to a car for 5 minutes, and then came back to the gate. I decided it was unsafe for my dogs to still be out there in the yard, so I turned the light on to help me see clearer and let the dog's gate open. After I let my dogs in, this guy is still crouched, not moving a bit. 10 more minutes, which to me seemed like 10 hours, passed by and the man is still there but stands up. After seeing this man stand up, I realized he is holding something, which looked like to be a metal pipe. I locked the door and me and my friend ran across the house to the front door to tell my dad to come inside. I never gave him an explanation as to why, but I'm guessing he saw the urgency in my face or voice and listened. So to the man who was crouched outside my backyard for at least half an hour, let's not meet. We moved to this new house at the end of 2019, right before lockdown, and multiple things happened. One night around 7 p.m., my mom and I were going home from school. It's a 20-minute ride. And my mom has this weird habit of always checking who is behind us. And that night, she noticed that this car had been there for a few minutes already. To be sure that we weren't paranoid, we slowed down and made 2 rounds in a roundabout. But they ended up cutting us up full speed on the small road going to our house, which wasn't a really busy road, usually. But we assumed that we were at the wrong place at the wrong time. Fast forward to lockdown. At first everything was going well and we collectively decided to forget about it. We were in May, so 2 months after the lockdown started and almost the end of it. My sister was downstairs around 3 a.m. just hanging out in the living room. She noticed one of the doors slightly opening and assumed that someone forgot to close it and that the wind was blowing it. But when she tried to push it to lock it, she felt like someone was putting their weight on it to open. So she screamed as loud as she could and ran upstairs to my parents. They went in the backyard to check if anyone was there. We didn't see anyone, so we just let it be a one-time thing. But my mom wasn't reassured, so she started to stay during the night in the living room if anything happened. During the next few weeks, nothing new happened, and she asked me multiple times to stay with her just to be her witness in case anything happened. Around 1 a.m., we were lying on the couch, but the lights were off because I had a headache and my mom was just scrolling through her phone. We saw a blinding light direct to our living room, which spooked me so much that I was completely paralyzed. My parents went into the backyard and still nothing. After that, we saw multiple lights and noises. And on the surveillance camera, there were weird people at our gate staring directly into our house. But as it's not illegal, we couldn't do anything. This continued for a few months, driving my family insane. In 2021, while we were cleaning the backyard for summer, we saw a big hole in the bushes large enough to allow someone to go through. We didn't know what to do, but we had confirmation that someone was coming onto our property. Almost nothing happened after that, which made us believe that they knew we were onto them. But we still don't have a clue about who it was, why they were doing that, or even if they wanted to do something bad.